put it in this big pot, and it looks just like water, and you would keep it in this big one for 8 hours. You would transfer it to this middle one so that this one could be filled up with more sap, and it gets darker here, it gets a little thicker, and it stays for 8 more hours. Then you'll transfer it into this small one, and this is where it will turn into maple syrup, and it'll stay here for another 8 hours. And maple syrup was a little hard for them to keep because they didn't have any refrigeration, so that they would get rid of as much water as they could to make maple sugar or maple cakes. They would use this wooden mold to make these maple cakes out of them, and they could use this for trading. They could get new clothes, they could get some animals, they could get some meat with them. And you could see that there's a little engraving here because some families just made better maple sugar than others.
I'm Farmer Laura, and this is our evaporator. So here what you can see is we have our maple sap starting to get really hot and evaporating the water out of it so that we get a higher sugar content. So this one, it still looks quite a lot like sap. And then as we move into this container, it's been boiling for a lot longer, so it's going to look more like maple syrup. So you can see it's darker in color and closer to syrup. Now we know here, it's a little different than in the early settler station that you saw, where they just have to kind of guess when it's maple syrup. Here we know based on the temperature. So we let it boil to 104 degrees Celsius, and at that point it's at 66.5% sugar. So that's when it becomes maple syrup. So then we can filter it and even put it in a finishing pan if we need to just keep the sap running.